In our state and in many places across the country, there's a notable dichotomy between food waste and food insecurity. It's not easy to bridge that separation and find a solution. But the founders of a North Carolina nonprofit organization called Right for Revival have a plan. Right for Revival has been awarded an inaugural community grant by the local foundation. We recognize the innovative solutions they put in motion to help address food insecurity in North Carolina.
Ripe Revival exists to revive communities through food. And that starts on the farm, where we work directly with farmers to provide outlets for 100% of their crops. And then we use practical, creative solutions to take those crops to people's tables through businesses or throughout communities in North Carolina and beyond. We've got an established network of farmers that we buy from, that we support in our business initiatives. And now we've got a nonprofit, Right for Revival, where we're able to kind of make it full circle. It's the arm, it's the boots on the ground that allow us to take these existing relationships, to take our experience that's rooted in agriculture and to be a facilitator along the way. We like to say we're bridging the gap between farm excess and food access. We take the produce that they have worked so hard to grow and we provide outlets for 100% of that, making them more operationally efficient, driving more profit back to the farm, and then taking the stress of how they handle their crops off their plate. And it's going to impact a community where they may or may not traditionally have access to fresh and healthy foods. And that makes us feel good about what we're doing, and it sure makes those farmers feel good about what they're doing.
Right for Revival has been big for us in moving a lot of the excess produce that we have. Some years we leave as much as 40% in the field, and we leave it because of cosmetic issues, when nutritionally there's no issue at all.
If we had to leave, just say 40% of our crop in the field, that's income we can't have to grow and diversify into different areas. And so working with them, having a home for that crop allows us to not only benefit communities, but allows us to grow different crops to benefit those communities.
Farmers are very vulnerable in a lot of different ways, and it's very nice to have Right for Revival on our team and be a part of that team.
Will has a great gift again for selling and finding these organizations and areas of need and kind of marrying up the need with the supply, and we have the supply. Primarily sweet potatoes. We're one of the largest sweet potato shippers in the country. Any produce organization will have excess produce that maybe doesn't look quite as like you'd want to put on a retail shelf. There's nothing wrong with it. And Will helps us to move that stuff to organizations and ultimately people that are in need that can benefit from it.
Having local farmers who work so hard but are just so talented and educated at what they do to grow this fresh produce, it takes a lot. But we're so blessed to have a lot of smart, intelligent farmers who are good at what they do on our team so that we can focus on developing the programs for education, developing the programs for distribution and the logistics behind it, and leverage their experience, their equipment at times, and their infrastructure to help us succeed. And that's really important for our programs and our partnerships with organizations like Southern Nash High School or Nash Community College, where we're putting in these community farms and relying heavily on farmers to help us be successful.
So it was really exciting to me when Will asked to meet with us to talk about a partnership where we could kind of bring more direct ag into the campus. I like the part about using part of what we grow in our programs here, but using it to benefit his program. We share a common cause in really serving underserved people, students, whatever it might be, and really giving opportunities where opportunities didn't exist before. What I like about Ripe Revival is, again, they're working with the full community and North Carolina communities, but they're also looking at the underserved population, which is exactly what we do.
I am excited to see what comes of this. I think there's a lot of great concepts. I do appreciate Ripe Revival. They're going to come in with the expertise, and they've got some helping hands that are going to come help us along the way. I think that's really good. We're really excited about what we can do with the produce here in the programs.
I'm a city council person here in Rocky Mount, and Ripe Revival has been one of the producers that has helped us when we were going through the pandemic to get fresh, affordable foods in for the community. there are areas in Rocky Mount that were designated as food deserts. In the eastern part of North Carolina, we have too much land to be a food desert.
Well, as a native North Carolinian, I am sad to say there are more in need than I would like. And in our current economic times, the need seems to be growing even bigger. It's sad, but yet there's hope. And I think the hope comes from organizations like Ripe Revival, who recognize the need and reach out to community partners such as the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission and ask for the help.
We are super excited about our mobile market program through Ripe for Revival, where we've actually gone out and purchased 2 city transit buses, and we are in the process of upfitting those now to become a retail market on wheels, where we can take that to communities that are really food deserts. And through that market, we're going to have shelving that features beautiful locally grown produce on it. We're going to have refrigerators and freezers that feature eggs and dairy and meat and other food items that are going to nourish these communities, that are going to give them access to things that they may not have access to currently where they are. On that bus, we've also got a cooking cart where our registered dietitian is going to roll that cart off into the street. As these families are walking on and off this bus with fresh produce, she's going to be cooking and showing through educational demonstrations how they can use them and what, allow them to taste food that she's cooking to show that it can be good and tasty and fun.
So we partner with our communities and meet them where they are. We go into after school care, we go into daycare centers, schools, and provide programming around fruits and vegetables. So we've done taste tests, cooking demonstrations, and overall just lessons to get kids or whatever audience that we're working with at that time excited about eating healthy foods and incorporating them into their diets.
Transforming these buses into food markets, and grocery stores is a way of getting affordable food out to communities that are still food deserts, but having people to purchase food at the level that they can purchase it.
I think it's an achievable goal to set that we can begin to tackle these problems that exist in a meaningful, lasting, sustainable ways that allow us to create a more equitable food system where no farmer loses any of their crops and every community has food on their tables whenever they need it. And we all live happier, healthier lives. And as we sit around the tables with our families at the holidays, eating a healthy meal and having access to food, it really warms my heart and puts a smile on my face to think about the families that are doing the same thing, that are surrounding tables with their loved ones, enjoying a healthy meal, and laughing and smiling and knowing that somewhere along the way, Ripe for Revival, our community members, all of our partners, like the local foundation, had a hand in those smiles on those kids' faces and the satisfaction and dignity that those parents have for being able to put food on those tables. Local Foundation, we can't thank you enough for the funding and support of our nonprofit Ripe for Revival and its programs, and we look forward to stewarding those funds in a way that makes you proud and impacts communities across North Carolina.
Go ahead and start her off there, Al. Al Sproul, Tidewater Grain, Oriental, North Carolina.
Tommy Wheeler, Tidewater Grain, Hortonsville, North Carolina.
You're looking at Carolina Gold rice. This is our 3rd crop. We started out with about 3 acres as a proof of concept, proved we could do it, proved we could harvest it, proved we could do something with it, and we did. We were more successful than we thought we would be.
Carolina Gold rice is the heirloom granddaddy rice. It ended up expanding all across the South, all the way from Augusta, Georgia, as far north as Tidewater region of Virginia. Basically, anything east of I-95 was growing rice at the time, and it ultimately became known as Carolina Gold rice. And then all the rice from there was modified and selected from there that then expanded all the way across the Americas.
We can tell you the story, tell you exactly where it came from, where those seeds originated, where our seeds came from this year, all the way through to your fork. We can tell you the complete process, what's happened to that rice, the story behind it, the components that were used in it, all the way through. And I think that story and the people understanding where their food comes from means a lot, and there's a demand for it. That's what they want.
I think in today's time, so many people are looking for authenticity, right?
Absolutely.
They're looking for authenticity, you know, as you start to think about people are looking for more, they're more health conscious, more aware of what they're putting in their bodies. And the Carolina Gold story is an authentic story. We're very proud to be from North Carolina, right? As individuals. Al and I are both born and raised here. Can't imagine living anywhere else on the planet, right? This is our home. And so to that end, you know, we have a real simple goal, and that goal is to be served and sold in every county of North Carolina, so that everybody can be proud of it, right? Because, you know, we're proud to be the best rice farm in North Carolina. You know, that's something we say with great pride. Mind you, we're the only rice farm that we know of, really, that's selling Carolina Gold, but that is something we're very proud of, is to be kind of carrying that state flag for us.
Beloved by many for the ability to impart flavor, Carolina Cooker was established to bring everything you need to cook with under one roof, with a wide variety of cooking burners and fryers to cast iron cookware and accessories. Carolina Cooker has what you need to dish up great food. Whether you're tailgating, camping, or cooking for a large number of people, make Carolina Cooker your go-to brand for cooking needs. Visit us today at carolinacooker.com. Carolina Cooker, a tradition born in the South.
At Farm Credit, we're focused on family, farming, and financing.
Just like many of you, we've been in Eastern North Carolina for generations, as we serve our communities by providing loans to help farmers and rural residents succeed.
And for the first generation farmers out there, we've got your back too. At Farm Credit, we are your trusted financial partner.
Farming can be unpredictable. Financing should not be. Lean on Farm Credit for all of your financing needs.
North Carolina is the #1 sweet potato producing state, growing over 60% of all U.S. production. The fertile, sandy soils and warm, moist climate of North Carolina make it an ideal location to grow this orange superfood. They help support over 400 farm families and are just some of the 700,000 ag jobs across the state of North Carolina, including businesses in packing, trucking, processing, banking, insurance, manufacturing, equipment, greenhouses, and more. Sweet potatoes are loaded with vitamins and minerals and are as delicious as they are versatile. When you think sweet potatoes, remember, it's one word and they should come from North Carolina.
In our state and in many places across the country, there's a notable dichotomy between food waste and food insecurity. It's not easy to bridge that separation and find a solution, but the founders of a North Carolina nonprofit organization called Right for Revival have a plan. Right for Revival has been awarded an inaugural community grant by the local foundation. We recognize the innovative solutions they put in motion to help address food insecurity in North Carolina.
Ripe Revival exists to revive communities through food. And that starts on the farm, where we work directly with farmers to provide outlets for 100% of their crops. And then we use practical, creative solutions to take those crops to people's tables through businesses or throughout communities in North Carolina and beyond. We've got an established network of farmers that we buy from, that we support in our business initiatives. And now we've got a nonprofit, Right for Revival, where we're able to kind of make it full circle. It's the arm, it's the boots on the ground that allow us to take these existing relationships, to take our experience that's rooted in agriculture and to be a facilitator along the way. We like to say we're bridging the gap between farm excess and food access. We take the produce that they have worked so hard to grow and we provide outlets for 100% of that, making them more operationally efficient, driving more profit back to the farm, and then taking the stress of how they handle their crops off their plate. And it's going to impact a community where they may or may not traditionally have access to fresh and healthy foods. And that makes us feel good about what we're doing, and it sure makes those farmers feel good about what they're doing.
Right for Revival has been big for us in moving a lot of the excess produce that we have. Some years we leave as much as 40% in the field, and we leave it because of cosmetic issues, when nutritionally there's no issue at all.
If we had to leave, just say 40% of our crop in the field, that's income we can't have to grow and diversify into different areas. And so working with them, having a home for that crop allows us to not only benefit communities, but allows us to grow different crops to benefit those communities.
Farmers are very vulnerable in a lot of different ways, and it's very nice to have Right for Revival on our team and be a part of that team.
Will has a great gift again for selling and finding these organizations and areas of need and kind of marrying up the need with the supply, and we have the supply. Primarily sweet potatoes. We're one of the largest sweet potato shippers in the country. Any produce organization will have excess produce that maybe doesn't look quite as like you'd want to put on a retail shelf. There's nothing wrong with it. And Will helps us to move that stuff to organizations and ultimately people that are in need that can benefit from it.
Having local farmers who work so hard but are just so talented and educated at what they do to grow this fresh produce, it takes a lot. But we're so blessed to have a lot of smart, intelligent farmers who are good at what they do on our team so that we can focus on developing the programs for education, developing the programs for distribution and logistics behind it, and leverage their experience, their equipment at times, and their infrastructure to help us succeed. And that's really important for our programs and our partnerships with organizations like Southern Nash High School or Nash Community College, where we're putting in these community farms and relying heavily on farmers to help us be successful.
So it was really exciting to me when Will asked to meet with us to talk about a partnership where we could kind of bring more direct ag into the campus. I like the part about using part of what we grow in our programs here, but using it to benefit his program. We share a common cause in really serving underserved people, students, whatever it might be, and really giving opportunities where opportunities didn't exist before. What I like about Ripe Revival is, again, they're working with the full community and North Carolina communities, but they're also looking at the underserved population, which is exactly what we do.
I am excited to see what comes of this. I think there's a lot of great concepts. I do appreciate Ripe Revival. They're going to come in with the expertise, and they've got some helping hands that are going to come help us along the way. I think that's really good. We're really excited about what we can do with the produce here in the programs.
I'm a city council person here in Rocky Mount, and Ripe Revival has been one of the producers that has helped us when we were going through the pandemic to get fresh, affordable foods in for the community. there are areas in Rocky Mount that were designated as food deserts. In the eastern part of North Carolina, we have too much land to be a food desert.
Well, as a native North Carolinian, I am sad to say there are more in need than I would like. And in our current economic times, the need seems to be growing even bigger. It's sad, but yet there's hope. And I think the hope comes from organizations like Ripe Revival, who recognize the need and reach out to community partners such as the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission and ask for the help.
We are super excited about our mobile market program through Ripe for Revival, where we've actually gone out and purchased 2 city transit buses, and we are in the process of upfitting those now to become a retail market on wheels, where we can take that to communities that are really food deserts. And through that market, we're gonna have shelving that features beautiful locally grown produce on it. We're gonna have refrigerators and freezers that feature eggs and dairy and meat and other food items that are going to nourish these communities, that are going to give them access to things that they may not have access to currently where they are. On that bus, we've also got a cooking cart where our registered dietitian is going to roll that cart off into the street. As these families are walking on and off this bus with fresh produce, she's going to be cooking and showing through educational demonstrations how they can use them and what, allow them to taste food that she's cooking to show that it can be good and tasty and fun.
So we partner with our communities and meet them where they are. We go into after-school care, we go into daycare centers, schools, and provide programming around fruits and vegetables. So we've done taste tests, cooking demonstrations, and overall just lessons to get kids or whatever audience that we're working with at that time excited about eating healthy foods and incorporating them into their diets.
Transforming these buses into food markets, and grocery stores is a way of getting affordable food out to communities that are still food deserts, but having people to purchase food at the level that they can purchase it.
I think it's an achievable goal to set that we can begin to tackle these problems that exist in a meaningful, lasting, sustainable ways that allow us to create a more equitable food system where no farmer loses any of their crops and every community has food on their tables whenever they need it. And we all live happier, healthier lives. And as we sit around the tables with our families at the holidays, eating a healthy meal and having access to food, it really warms my heart and puts a smile on my face to think about the families that are doing the same thing, that are surrounding tables with their loved ones, enjoying a healthy meal, and laughing and smiling and knowing that somewhere along the way, Ripe for Revival, our community members, all of our partners, like the local foundation, had a hand in those smiles on those kids' faces and the satisfaction and dignity that those parents have for being able to put food on those tables. Local Foundation, we can't thank you enough for the funding and support of our nonprofit Ripe for Revival and its programs, and we look forward to stewarding those funds in a way that makes you proud and impacts communities across North Carolina. Hey everyone, I'm Will with Ripe Revival, here to welcome you to our second Reviving the Supper Club Chef Series event, coming to you live from the Hackney in Washington, North Carolina. We're so excited that you decided to join us tonight for this nonprofit fundraiser, with all proceeds going to our mobile market program so that we can continue to upfit buses just like this into Pay What You Can grocery stores on wheels to really help us fulfill our purpose to revive communities through food. We want to thank you for participating in this event tonight, and we hope that you enjoy your time as we come to you live from this restaurant with Chef Jamie Davis and cook up some local fare that you're sure to enjoy. We just want to say we hope that you enjoy your time, and we hope that you'll post pictures of your event, of your family, of your meals, and really share what the great things that are going on in this nonprofit event are all about. And we just hope that you'll continue to join us as we host events like this across North Carolina and beyond. Thank you so much. Enjoy your time this evening. and we look forward to continuing to show you how Ripe Revival and our partners are working together to revive communities through food.
You're going to start her off there, Al.
Al Sproul, Tidewater Grain, Oriental, North Carolina.
Tommy Wheeler, Tidewater Grain, Hortonsville, North Carolina.
You're looking at Carolina Gold rice. This is our third crop. We started out with about 3 acres as a proof of concept, proved we could do it, proved we could harvest it, proved we could do something with it, and we did. We were more successful than we thought we would be.
Carolina Gold rice is the heirloom granddaddy rice. It ended up expanding all across the South, all the way from Augusta, Georgia, as far north as Tidewater region of Virginia. Basically, anything east of I-95 was growing rice at the time, and it ultimately became known as Carolina Gold rice. And then all the rice from there was modified and selected from there that then expanded all the way across the Americas.
We can tell you the story, tell you exactly where it came from, where those seeds originated, where our seeds came from this year, all the way through to your fork. We can tell you the complete process, what's happened to that rice, the story behind it, the components that were used in it, all the way through. And I think that story and the people understanding where their food comes from means a lot, and there's a demand for it. That's what they want.
I think in today's time, so many people are looking for authenticity, right?
Absolutely.
They're looking for authenticity, you know, as you start to think about people are looking for more, they're more health conscious, more aware of what they're putting in their bodies. And the Carolina Gold story is an authentic story. We're very proud to be from North Carolina, right, as individuals. Al and I are both born and raised here. Can't imagine living anywhere else on the planet, right? This is our home. And so to that end, you know, we have a real simple goal, and that goal is to be served and sold in every county of North Carolina so that everybody can be proud of it, right? Because, you know, we're proud to be the best rice farm in North Carolina. You know, that's something we say with great pride. Mind you, we're the only rice farm that we know of, really, that's selling Carolina Gold, but that is something we're very proud of, is to be kind of carrying that state flag for us.
Good evening, everyone. We are coming to you from the coastal town of Washington, North Carolina for our second Reviving the Supper Club Chef Series event. We are coming from the Hackney Restaurant and Distillery here in Washington, North Carolina, and I'm here with Spencer, not to be confused with Spencer Sweet Potato here, and Nick, the Master Distiller, and we're here starting at the bar to join you with you this evening to talk about the Field of Dreams cocktail and everything they've got going on right here in this facility. Nick, take it away.
All right, well, welcome to the Hackney Distillery. So I am the head distiller here, and just before we get into things, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the gin that we're going to work with tonight to make this wonderful Field of Dreams cocktail. So the Hackney Distillery, we're a gin distillery. So you go to a lot of distilleries, they're kind of jack of all trades, make a bit of everything with the exact opposite. We're trying to be master of one, just trying to make great gin. So the gin that we're going to pair with the cocktail tonight is our 1000 Piers Coastal Carolina Gin. And there are kind of various different styles of gin, but this is a botanical style gin. So what we mean by a botanical style gin is that it's not super juniper heavy. It's more about a marriage between the juniper and the other botanicals that we put into the product. So this gin is all about the marriage of citrus, spice, and juniper. We use 22 different botanicals, and this is and it's super complex. And what's different about us is that we try and use as many fresh botanicals as possible, and we try and source as many of our botanicals from local farms as possible, so that this really is a kind of taste of Eastern North Carolina. So when we talk about citrus and spice, the kind of things that we put in this gin are fresh citrus, like fresh orange peel and fresh grapefruit peel. We source wonderful lemongrass from a little farm down the road. We use fresh root ginger that we source from a little farm in Farmville, which is where all farms should be, really, shouldn't they? And we use things like cinnamon and cardamom and coriander and black pepper and star anise. So, and this gin pairs beautifully with this cocktail, because this cocktail is also about citrus and spice. And I'm going to let Spencer tell you about that in a second. So the Hackney Distillery is located right here in the same building as the restaurant. It's literally behind the wall that I'm against here is the distillery. We're open. We've been open coming up just for 3 years. So this gin, which is our Coastal Carolina gin, is our signature product. But we also make a blueberry gin. And both of these are widely available across North Carolina in all good ABC stores. And we're also going to launch for Christmas another product, which is going to be a gin liqueur based on black fruits like elderberry and blueberry and sloes. So that's a little intro into our gin. I'm going to pass you over to Spencer, who's going to tell you about how we're going to make a wonderful cocktail with it.
Thank you. So today we'll be making 2 different versions of our Field of Dreams cocktail, one with our 1,000 peers and the second being a non-alcoholic mocktail. To make this at home, you'll need a cocktail shaker. If you don't have one, a mixing glass will do. You will also need a strainer and something to measure out our ingredients. Our ingredients for this will be the 1,000 peers gin. Let's see. If you don't have any 1,000 peers at home, we recommend using Tanqueray 10, which is right over here.
Yeah, and Tanqueray 10 has also a good citrus profile, which we think will go really well with this cocktail.
You'll also need your Field of Dreams mix, which you received in your box, as well as fresh lemon juice. Everyone at home should have a whole lemon. About half of a lemon will equate to about an ounce of lemon juice. So to make the alcoholic version of this, you'll start with 2 ounces of our Field of Dreams mix. You'll need 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice, or about half of a lemon. And then 1.5 ounces of gin. After that, you will give this all a shake, or a stir if you're using a mixing glass at home.
So I know the Field of Dreams cocktail mix is somewhat proprietary, but what can you share about kind of what is in that and how it complements this?
So to make our Field of Dreams mix, I can't reveal our secret recipe, but we do use fresh ginger root that we juice daily, as well as fresh lemon juice in-house with a little bit of honey. So once you've given that a shake or a stir, you'll just pour that into your rocks glass and garnish it with a wheel of lemon and a sprig of rosemary. If you want to make a non-alcoholic or mocktail version of this, you will leave our gin to the side. Do the same 2 ounces of the Field of Dreams mix, 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice. You'll add your ice and shake or stir.
So this is great for people like me who have to drive an 80,000-pound bus home tonight, or if you'd prefer not to partake in the gin this evening as well.
Pour that into your rocks glass and top it with either ginger ale or Sprite. We'll give that a garnish. And you'll have a beautiful mocktail.
Awesome.
I'll let
Thank you,
have this.
Spencer. Cheers, everyone. It's very fresh, very good.
It's good, isn't it?
So, as we go into the holidays, you're excited about launching a new product. Did you want to share a little bit more about that and where people can not only find your gin, obviously in ABC stores in North Carolina, but what else did you want to share?
So our new product is going to be a gin-based liqueur. And what we actually do is we actually start with our blueberry gin. And then what we do is that we infuse that with elderberries and sloe berries. And then we're turning that into a liqueur. So we're adding a little sugar. But what's wonderful about it is that both elderberry and sloe berry is extremely tart. So they really bounce off the sugar. So you get this silky, rich, dark, fruity liqueur. It's perfect for like cold days. Put it in a hip flask. If you're going hunting or watching sport, it's just a perfect thing to take a little nip. It's deeply fruity. It's almost got dark fruity, it's almost got a chocolate note in it. It's really good.
Well, I know elderberry is good for immune health, so this is going to help with that too, right?
Well, you've got blueberries, elderberries, and sloe berries are all loaded with antioxidants and all that good stuff. So, I mean, there's a little sugar and alcohol in there to balance it off.
Gives you a good
it's a
excuse.
balance. Think of it as like a balanced diet.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Well, maybe people are lucky they'll get a sample of that tonight, but for now, I think we need to take some drinks to the kitchen and see if we can't get this party started.
Oh, let's get this party started. All right.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chef Jamie, it
Yes.
is so awesome to be in your kitchen here at the Hackney in beautiful Washington, North Carolina.
Oh,
Thank
yes.
you for having us. Oh, the party is just
Oh,
getting ready
here
to
we go.
start. Oh, thank
The
you.
most important
Thank
thing,
you.
drinks have arrived. There we go. Let's rock and roll.
So, I'm here with the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission. My good friend Tommy is here with Tommy Wheeler with the Tidewater grain rice, and we're here to cook a great dinner alongside with you tonight and all of our friends joining us from the Supper Club. What are we going to do? What's up?
All right. So we're going to do a white sweet potato bisque, wheat swap Angus seared sirloin. We're going to use one of my favorite rices of all time, Tidewater grain rice, with a little bit of cilantro, a little bit of lime. Then we're going to garnish it with smoked trout roe, some peppers, a little bit of herb oil, and maybe some herbs. I think that's about it. I think that sounds it. That sounds about right.
Let the ingredients speak for themselves,
That's-
right?
If you got a good product, you don't got to put a lot of stuff on it.
Good in, good out.
That's it. Easy. Easy.
Well, in North Carolina Ag does that better than anybody else.
Absolutely.
Yes, I've been around a lot of places, and I think our beef, our vegetables, everything we do in North Carolina can stand up to anybody else's, if not better than anybody else's.
I love their
honestly.
tagline, goodness grows in NC, right?
Yeah.
It's so true.
Everything from North Carolina.
You can find everything you need from the mountains to all the way out here to little Washington, and everything in between.
We can't say Little Washington.
Can't say Little Washington. That's no good anymore.
Not me. This is Big Washington.
Big Washington.
We're the original Washington. A lot of people get us confused. They want to say Little Washington, but I think we have a lot of big things around here.
Absolutely.
All right, so what's up first? I see
All
these
right.
beautiful bonita white sweet potatoes. What do we got going on?
All right, so this is going to be the base of the dish.
Okay.
So what I like to do is just start off peeling them. As you can see, I start a little ahead of y'all at home.
Sure.
So just because I didn't want to look too crazy. So I just like to peel these, and a lot of times I'll peel them over a towel or a piece of paper. Because if you peel them over the trash, you slip, they're in the trash. Now you wasted your product. So I like to do it over something. And these are beautiful sweet potatoes. First time I used them was probably about 5 years ago. And I don't know how I even came across them, and I've been using them ever since.
So how many different varieties of sweet potatoes have you prepared and generally like to use here?
I've used about, I want to say 3, but I like to use white because it's just so unique.
Yes.
And everybody knows the standard sweet potato, and then a lot of chefs are using a purple sweet potato, but I like to go against the grain and use what other people aren't using.
Right.
So I like to use the white sweet potato because, for one, it tastes great, and for 2, it's just a beautiful color at the end all, and it gives you a perfect, almost like a beautiful picture, almost something totally different that you can build off.
Absolutely. So I have to share with you, the first time that I ever ate in your restaurant was a little over a year ago, and I had your sweet potato bisque, your
Yes.
white sweet potato bisque, and it was delicious. So when you shared that this was going to be part of the menu tonight, I could not have been more excited. And you can verify for me, I didn't ask you to do that.
Oh no, oh no.
No, this was all for you and your menu design.
Yeah, I think chefs like to do one dish over and over, and I think every year I try to do something with a white sweet potato to highlight it, just to do something different. So this year I just wanted to say, why can't we do it with steak?
Right.
So why not?
I don't know that I believe that you had no influence over the menu.
I swear, Tommy, I had none. It is true. The only thing that I've had influence over, and this will not be a surprise to you, is that I have asked Chef Jamie about the spelling of sweet potato.
Okay.
Yes.
And I was wrong. I was wrong at first, but it's one word. I learned that.
It is one word, and the fact that you're using a white bonita sweet potato helps this conversation. And again, it wasn't queued up, it wasn't done on purpose, but the reason why sweet potato should be spelled as one word is it is not botanically related to a white potato at all. And when you have it as 2 words, it is now an adjective describing a noun, which a sweet potato is a noun all within itself. It's its own variety.
Now we're going to school. There's nothing wrong
on
with
a
that.
Tuesday night.
On a Tuesday night.
Overtime.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing
Exactly.
wrong with that.
No, I'm fun at all the parties, really.
But I think I'll jump in real quick and just say
Please.
that Michelle, is not ever going to take credit for all the hard work that's gone into actually, putting that into motion.
Yeah.
To explain that, the side of our bus has hashtag sweet potato is one word because it is such a big deal to recognize the sweet potato as one word, and for the reasons that Michelle just explained, that she's actually going to great efforts, and the commission, the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission as a whole, is going to great efforts to actually change on your iPhone text to talk and really extreme things to make sure that that is actually corrected, right?
We are, and I thank you for that. So we're trying to petition all the different digital dictionaries to make this change, and the more everyone uses it, the more success we're going to have in this effort.
Never would I have thought that there was a committee or somebody on the other end of the line that you would talk to an iPhone to say, hey, I need this to be auto-corrected correctly.
There is. You just think about all the crazy words that get added to our dictionaries every year. And this one's scientific. This is all official. This has nothing to do with the Sweet Potato Commission. This doesn't even have to do with Michelle. It is official. We just are steering it as the nation's leader in producing sweet potatoes, our state is. We produce over 65% of the total nation's production. So we felt that it was time to help elevate the sweet potato even more. And you utilizing them in your restaurant is helping us do that. And others learning more about them is another way that we can bring awareness to it. All right, you got them prepped, you got them peeled. How are we going to cut them?
So I just like to go down the middle, and it's almost like a dice, but it doesn't matter because they're all going to get cooked down and pureed anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So you don't have to be fancy. But the way I like to do things is I like doing the same way all the time. If I do it the same way all the time, I got in a habit. You kind of on autopilot almost.
Sure. So let me ask you a question. What would you recommend for people at home to have more consistently cut shapes of their sizes of their sweet potatoes? How do they have that consistent size as they cut?
Well, it all depends on what you prefer to do. So like you could square it off a little bit if you want it. So like you square it off like such. So now you square it off. It doesn't roll. Then you can go down. Then that gives you something flat. Then you just go back in the strips. Then you just go back and cut them. Then they're perfect
I wonder
every
what
time.
the over-under is on how many are looking at a copay already tonight.
Well, it depends.
I was looking at that knife blade and
I
there's
am super intimidated. The knife itself is intimidating.
Some rules after the last event. Tommy can't handle knives in the kitchen.
I'm
the
no
kitchen's too
longer
small
allowed.
for that.
Right.
I was a risk to everyone around me.
Well,
Still am.
Well,
even
that's
this
just
far
you,
away.
Tommy. We all know you, Tommy. That's just you.
That's right. That's right.
But there's lots of people at home that are trying to watch you do it so beautifully and also try to keep up and keep it evenly cut. So I think your tip on squaring it off and flattening it so that you're not dealing with as many different rounded edges and the shift of the roll, perhaps, maybe, is a great one.
Yeah, this way it doesn't move. You can just use you let the knife do the work and just follow it.
And Chef, your size for the dish is important to get it to cook at the pace, right? Isn't that what it's all about, is to get that to all come together?
Cook evenly at
so
the
don't
same
freelance.
time.
Don't get creative and bake big chunks like home fries, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Because it's going to take too long to cook.
Yeah. And if you're like the average person nowadays, you don't want to spend a lot of time cooking. You know, because nowadays everybody's working, you got young kids. Sometimes dinner might be the last thing you want to do when you go home. And you want something quick. I know a lot of times I'll eat something quick. So
it is Tuesday night.
It's Tuesday. What is
But we can eat good during the week if we do it right.
If you do it right. And that's what we're here for.
That's right.
So after you got your potatoes cut, I will cut some fresh ginger. A little trick with the fresh ginger. Same. You want to peel it over something.
Okay.
But you use a spoon. Use a spoon to peel your ginger.
Oh.
Pro tip.
Learn something new every day.
Pro tip. That's why I went to culinary school right there. Right here. Yeah,
I love fresh ginger, and I have never seen this.
Nope.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I know what I'll be doing from now on.
Quick little tip. That's how the pros do. At least that's what they told me.
Right, for
I've been doing it like that. I don't know if they're right or wrong, but I've been doing it like that the last 10 years.
I think this Field of Dreams cocktail has ginger in it. It's
fresh
what makes
ginger.
it taste so fresh.
Yeah, fresh ginger. And we usually juice fresh ginger about every other day for our cocktails. So like all our cocktails, all the juice is freshly squeezed that day. So that's another thing that kind of, we try to bring in our food and our drinks, just the freshness. So with this, you can cut it anyway.
Oh yeah, somebody's getting injured at home right now.
Oh yeah, let me slow down.
Well, hopefully they read their instructions that came with the meal kit and they took the time
to
beforehand to prep, and they're able to enjoy this.
Yeah,
and
prep on the front
actually
side.
enjoy the show.
Vital.
Yeah, but if you did cut yourself, you got time to bandage up and get ready.
Get back in there.
Yeah.
Just remember, Tommy's not a doctor, and none of us are doctors, but don't take any medical advice.
No medical advice. Legal disclaimer. I appreciate you throwing that in.
We got a question. What if they left the skin on the potatoes and didn't peel? Does that affect the quality?
I don't think it affects the quality, but I think it might affect the flavor a little bit.
Okay.
And the texture of the overall product. And at the end of the day, it all depends on what you like. If you're at home cooking, if you like the skin, you like the skin. If you don't, you don't. But I know me personally, for like the restaurant establishment, I always peel potatoes, unless I'm doing like a fry or something. If I'm doing a fry, I leave it on. But as long as you, extra fiber, yeah, you're totally right. It does bring extra fiber. But I think as long as you rinse it off really well, you should be okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
So
Full disclosure, I don't rinse my potatoes. I'm lazy.
But are you peeling them all the time?
I just cook them.
Just cook them up.
I'm whole
Okay.
hog.
Well, you're a farmer too.
That's right.
So
That's right. We're earthy.
Yeah, you might know
We're
something we don't.
connected to the dirt.
There you go. You know something that we don't. We don't work in the field every day. All right, so you got the sweet potatoes cut, you got your ginger cut. Now I will get this in a pan with a little bit of garlic.
Okay.
And a little bit of onions.
And let me ask you, with your garlic, sorry to interrupt you, would you have it minced? Would you have it kind of rustic cut or?
I like to smash it and
Smash
just rustic cut.
Okay.
Like nothing too crazy at all. Grab me one piece of garlic, if you don't mind.
And as she's getting some garlic, how about the onion? You were talking about using.
Onion, I will just cut it anyway because it's going to cook now.
Sure.
Nothing needs to be perfect because at the end of the day, it's going to turn into a soup. And like I said, it saves time if you just cut it up. I'll just take one. Oh, you're good. So like with the garlic, I like to just smash it. And just cut it up anyway. Then I would just sweat the onions, ginger, and garlic. Sweat it down. Sweat means just to get a little bit of the liquid off. Then I would add my potatoes and then my heavy cream, chicken stock or vegetable stock, whatever you prefer, and your spices, and let that come to a consistency that you like. Like it's not too not too thin, but you don't want it too thick.
Sure.
Yeah.
And to back it up a little bit, when we get to the sweating part.
Yes.
How are we going to sweat? Just for those who are still coming to, into their own in their kitchen and trying to figure it out, what does that mean when you say, I need to sweat it for a little bit?
So you sweat in a little bit of oil. You can use blended oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, extra virgin olive oil, whatever one you prefer. And sweat, you're just gonna let it cook down until it gets a little translucent.
Yes.
And you just see a little bit of the liquid come off. And then that's when I will start adding everything else.
Got it. Okay. And what if you didn't have the oils, but you had butter on hand?
I would do the butter.
Okay.
The only thing is you want to be careful with the butter because sometimes it starts to brown on you a little quick if it's too high. But that's okay because that just adds extra flavor also.
Okay.
I jumped back in here at the sign of butter.
Yeah. It's the magic call sign.
That's my jam.
Yeah.
Right.
There we go. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering those questions for me.
Thank you. So now we got that going. Then I will probably get into the rice.
All right, I'm going to trade out with you because this is definitely your jam for
I
real.
have turned into a rolling roadblock over here.
Well,
for
no
the
worries.
team.
There you go.
They're
Let's
hustling.
talk rice.
There we go.
So how are we going to do the rice here?
All right, so we got a big old pot. And I got my liquid, I got my ratio. Rice, beautiful rice. We're going to go 2 to 1. Is that what you do?
So I'll tell you, I've already established that I'm lazy.
Yes.
And so what we generally do is the 2 to 1 go-to, old school 101 rice cooking.
Yes.
Another way, if you happen to be on a Tuesday enjoying a cocktail, just dump your rice in the pot, and then go over to the sink, start putting water in until it just covers the top of your knuckle.
Gotcha.
I don't know why it works. Your thumb's different than mine, than Michelle's and Will's. It's magic. It's culinary magic.
It works.
No matter how big your pot, no matter what you're cooking on, gas, propane, wood stove, whatever, it always works. And then you just cook the rice basically to taste, because everybody's got a little. It's like pizza. Everybody's got a little different idea of how they want the texture of their rice.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely.
I think maybe the only important thing I would say is you got to make a choice with your meal. Are you trying to make a meal? Do you want the rice to be sticky or not?
Yeah, yeah.
And so a lot of people ask me about whether or not they should rinse their rice.
Yes.
Right? And so for this meal, are you trying to go after kind of a stickier, more wholesome?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Right? So you wouldn't rinse it. Wouldn't rinse it. If you did rinse it, you only maybe one time.
Yeah.
If you're going after where you're trying to do, I call it date night rice, right? Where you want it to be delicate and be this individual grains where you can pick them up individually, you're going to rinse that 3 or 4, even 5 times. You can go until the water gets completely clear, rinses all that starch right off of the outside of the rice. Now when you cook it, it'll be a lot less sticky, depending on how you do it.
There you go. Y'all are educating tonight.
Well, we're the rice kings. You know,
There's
we found a million ways to cook the rice.
There's nothing wrong with that. So like, I like to start the water first.
Oh yeah.
I like to get that to a nice boil, and I like to season it. So we're just going to season it with kosher salt and pepper. But that's just what I do.
Yep. Never go wrong.
Never.
Now, a lot of people don't season their water. Why do you? A lot of people will season after it's cooked down. What's your thought process?
Well, me, I like to build flavors.
Not added at the end.
Not added at the end. I like to build flavors, so I will always try to season from the beginning, unless it's something that needs to reduce. If it needs to reduce, I will hold off on the salt.
Because it pulls all that in.
Yeah.
Now it can get a little overbearing.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to go like this, let it come to a boil, add my rice. So how did y'all start off with the rice?
To be honest, it all started because we wanted to shoot more ducks. That's why on all of our logos, we try to always keep a duck up here. We were big duck hunters and trying to find a way to make our farm more sustainable. The smart side of the business relationship on Tidewater Grain is Al Sproul.
Yes.
He knows how to do everything. Me, I'm just...
You're the face.
I'm the eye candy.
Yeah, okay.
I'm eye
I
candy.
got you.
I mean,
I got you.
I get objectified. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Is basically my role. And but you know, we really were looking for a way, like so many farmers, on how do we diversify and not end up where we're all in on commodity farming.
Yeah.
Is there a way that we can start to control more of our destiny, where it's not controlled by a bad tweet or something that happens in halfway across the world that influences our markets, that then makes cotton prices go down or corn prices come up or input costs go down or input costs come up?
It's just gotten really difficult, and anytime anybody out there that knows a farmer, go hug them.
Yes.
Because they work their ass off
Yeah.
for super slim margins.
But people don't understand all the work that goes into
Nope.
it. They think it's, you till some stuff, you throw
Throw
some
stuff
seeds
in the
down,
ground.
and you come back and it's there.
100%.
And they don't understand how the science behind it, the runoff,
the science, the runoff, the
till.
regulations,
Yeah.
everything that we have to deal with, and then how you market it. How do you get the best value for that product to then, whether it be you're feeding hogs with Smithfield or something with Purdue, or whether it's going direct to consumer, we really, with Tidewater Grain, said, how can we change the path for us, and how can we do something from cradle to grave? So that's where we're at. We're a completely vertically integrated family farm.
Gotcha.
That is, everybody asks me that, and that is what we are. We control everything from the seed to the growing, to the harvesting, to the processing, storage, milling. We put in the only rice mill that's been in North Carolina in 130 years, down in Oriental, North Carolina.
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere.
Makes Washington look ginormous.
Yeah.
Right? And so we put that in down there, and then we do our own packaging, distribution, all the way to invoicing. We wanted to control that process all the way through so that we kept the connection with fine chefs like you, the in public, even our food distributors. We have great relationships all the way along the line. The bad side, Jamie, we don't have anybody to blame.
Yeah.
When something goes wrong, we can't blame a supplier. We can't blame it on Will or something like that. Oh, well, it must have been my vendor that let me down. Nah,
Yeah. It's you.
It's the mirror.
Yeah.
You look in the mirror, and
Yeah.
we're responsible for it all. But that's been pretty cool to be able to do that and to see
Yeah.
something, the way our community has got behind it. You know, everybody that we have that works with us, they are really behind the idea of bringing back something old and making it cool and sustainable and effective again.
Yeah.
It's really a rewarding deal for us.
All right, guys, so I want to say it's time to check your potatoes. How are they doing? Is the water, is the heavy cream simmering, boiling? If it's boiling, I will reduce it down a little bit because you don't want to take too much of the starch out if it's boiling. So, like, whenever I do any type of potato, I like to keep it on a nice simmer.
Okay.
I don't want to take too
Not
much
too
of the
heavy
starch.
of a boil.
Yeah.
Don't get
Yeah.
it rolling.
Yeah, not like you would do because I know you're in a rush.
Yeah, I'm always.
Oh,
We
you're
got
in
to
a
move
rush.
to the next thing.
That's it. Well, you're part of NASCAR, man. You're fast.
That's exactly right.
That's it.
Got to be able to do it.
There you go. Hey, Johnny, can you do me a favor? Can you grab me a...
So Tommy, I'm gonna jump in just like I did on
medium-sized
Michelle, and
bowl?
just kind of give Tidewater a little bit of spotlight too. Tell us a little bit about some of the new products. You know, you mentioned you're the only rice farm in North Carolina for the last 100 years.
Coolest rice farm.
It's absolutely the coolest. You know, but Carolina Gold is one of the most popular varieties right now. Is that right?
It's the oldest grain in the Americas. You've got Carolina Gold rice that came into the Americas in 1685 on a slave ship from Madagascar. Happy accident. This is the condensed version. Shipwrecked off of Charleston and went on. They horse traded at the time, didn't have currency, traded casks of rice to repair the boat so that they could then go on to the Caribbean. So the first documented time we had rice in the Americas and the first documented time to having rice in the Caribbean was 1685. And it then expanded as far north as Richmond, Virginia, as far south as Augusta, Georgia, and effectively east of I-95 for you native North Carolinians. And that all became known as the Rice Kingdom. And believe it or not, up until around 1900, rice was the #1 cash crop in North Carolina, not tobacco, not cotton, which most people didn't realize. And so you had a lot of that went away. A lot of people ask me, well, what happened? What went wrong? Well, what went wrong was effectively you had emancipation of slaves, okay? So you had lost the labor, and more importantly, you had lost the smarts.
Yeah.
They just, the plantation owners and stuff didn't know how to do the job. And then you had the rise of the machines because you're coming into the Industrial Revolution. Now you had options. This novel thing called a tractor came along where you could dig ditches and do things that you couldn't do before. And then in being good Eastern North Carolina, you had a couple big mammoth hurricanes. And then at that point, within about a 10-year period, pretty much all of the rice culture that had been built for the last hundreds of years in this area was wiped out.
Yeah.
And effectively moved west with the Western migration. Today, you still see the large commodity rice production in the U.S. is dominated by Arkansas, Texas, Missouri, Louisiana, Memphis, or Mississippi, and California. What we're setting out to do with the help of the Carolina Gold Foundation is bring back these ancient grains to remind people of how the food is supposed to taste before we started hybridizing everything.
Yeah.
Before we started modifying it and trying to play God with everything and combining these things, we ultimately decided to try to bring back that old grain. You know, we're really excited about that vertical integration you talked about, or talking about the new stuff we've got. We're stoked to announce that we've just now produced our own gluten-free rice flour, which is going to be very popular.
Yes.
Because what we set out to do with our flour, and it took us a while to get it right, we didn't want to have something that stood on its own 2 feet because it was gluten-free. We wanted to have a product that stood on its own 2 feet because it was good.
Yeah.
That just happens to be gluten-free. So now you've got so many families around the country that are wrestling with maybe a relative that's got celiac or somebody that's got a gluten sensitivity, and now that's changed what they cook on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Changed what they do. They can't eat fried chicken. They can't do some things that they were once doing that was normal to them, and now everybody's kind of paying that price.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to bring that back to where we've really worked hard to make a killer product that just works with everything. We're stoked to bring that out and to bring that forward.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Long-winded.
Long-winded.
Well,
I
we know
apologize.
Chef Jamie's using it and it's a good product, and we like to use it in Ripe Revival for our members, and they love it too.
100%.
So, Chef, tell us, about how you use this rice. Tell us what we're doing.
Oh man, so the
Let's keep
rice
on
is so
track
versatile.
here.
But for one, I gotta say, hello, Mom. I love you. Thank you for watching. But the rice is so versatile. We use it pretty much. It stays on my menu somehow. If we do it as a risotto, something on a vegetarian option with steaks, we done it. Right now, it's on a menu with tossed in a shrimp bisque, kind of with fresh kale. So we keep it on our menu. I love it. And like I said, you can use it in anything you want. You can use it as a thickener if you want in a soup. I thought it was boiling.
I heard it.
Yeah.
Close.
It's close.
It's close.
Let me turn that thing up.
Yep.
But yeah, I love to use it. If I'm going to use the rice, I'm going to try to use tile water. Just because these guys are going to pull up on you. They're going to tell you the story, and you actually can see them other places. A lot of times we get products and we never see who manufactured them. You don't see their kids. I done met his kids. You know, you don't see that. And with me, a lot of things I try to do is you want to help your community sustain. And to me, that's beautiful. What, it's been 100 years since somebody
Correct.
did it?
That's we're going to take this simple old grain and we're going to go nationwide with it, and we're going to do really great things. It's going to bring prominence back to Eastern North Carolina for something that they wouldn't have done and wouldn't have had since 1910.
Yeah.
That's the quest.
And most definitely, you're doing it in a market like, they say you're in Little Washington, but you're in Oriental.
Correct. Really small.
Really small. And
absolutely.
I think that's the jam pretty much, because it's not Raleigh, it's not Winston-Salem, it's not Charlotte, it's not none of these big places. It's places where the community supports each other. And I'm not saying those big cities don't, but like Oriental, nobody would have thought.
It's cool to have people pull in to town just to see the rice farm.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think we got a question from the from home. Can we get an update on where we should be cooking the rice and the bisque? Should the potatoes be boiling, and should the rice be covered or simmering?
All right, right now we're getting our water hot for our rice. So as soon as that comes to a boil, we're going to start cooking our rice. Your potatoes should not be boiling. They should be at a nice simmer. So just little bubbles. You don't want it to boil if you're going to bring out your starches, and you might burn your potatoes because of the heavy cream or the half and half that you're using. But you want to bring it up to a simmer. But they should be almost getting soft here very soon, if they're not already soft. And our rice, we should start cooking about another 3 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
About another 3 minutes. And that takes, about 15, 16 minutes?
That's right.
So.
Just to cook down.
Just to cook down.
I think it's a good point. So for those following along at home, if you have any questions, feel free to submit them in the chat, and we'll try and do our best to address them. And then I just want to touch on, something that Chef Jamie just said a minute ago, talking about community supporting community. And I think the whole purpose of this fundraiser event is to assist with our mobile market program, which is a nonprofit program about how we work with communities of farmers, food producers, and community leaders to revive communities through food. I think, Chef, one of the things that I've loved about my interaction with you and just the 3 times that we've met since we started talking about this is your desire to serve local.
Yes.
And to really do things differently here at the Hackney. And so I think it'd be great if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your background. I know a little bit about where you've come from. First of all, Chef is a veteran. We just went through Veterans Day. Thank you for your service.
No problem. Thank y'all.
And super thankful for that. But you got a really interesting story, a lot of experience. Tell us a little bit about that, and tell us about why you like to do things differently and things you're doing here that are different.
All right, well, started off washing dishes like every other chef, pretty much. But I started off at Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue at 16, and best barbecue around, I must say. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pour my rice in real quick while we're talking. Give it one little stir. Do you stir yours?
I don't. And in fact, the rice purists will tell you never ever with a metal spoon.
Yeah, I was taught with a fork.
That's right.
Yeah.
That they want to have the soft edges of the wood spoon.
Yeah. But see here, I don't care.
Look, we gotta get after it. We gotta get after it.
It's Jamie's kitchen.
It's Jamie's kitchen. We're gonna get after it.
We're gonna make it do what it do. But yeah, I started off working at Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. Worked there and loved it. As a kid, one time we were wrestling, playing around, cut my finger really bad, couldn't wash dishes. So they made me go up front, ring up people, started doing that, and said, oh, this is not too bad. Then they threw me on the line, and I started cooking. I was like, all right, this is all right. Then I just had to leave my hometown. Sometimes you get certain situations, you're like, man, what am I doing? So I left, joined the United States Army, went in to cook. I thought I was going to be the world's greatest military chef, and yeah. They shipped me right off to Iraq, like the first 7 months. I was like, all right. But it taught me a lot. But when I left there, I got out, went to a culinary program in Savannah, and they say the rest is history. I've been blessed to work with some really good people that really believe in why they do what they do. They don't do it just for a check. They do it because they have a passion for what they do. And just something that stuck with me, high standards, and thinking outside the box. I think one thing about Washington, again, we can do what we want to do. Because we don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing because we set the standards.
You're setting the standard.
We
you
set
are
the standards. Yeah, we are pretty much.
In this area, you
but
are the
I don't like
standard.
to say that because
But you are.
Because people think you're getting cocky. But
I mean, people come from hours around to eat here.
But as some of us I can say is we set the standards. I don't care about what nobody's doing in Raleigh, Charlotte. I love what they're doing, but sometimes they all do the same thing. Out here, I can do what I want, and we don't have to compete. People compete with us. We don't compete with anybody but ourselves. And that's kind of something I always wanted to do, just compete with myself. So out here, I'm going to do things totally different. And I think our customers kind of like that because every week they can come and see something totally different.
The thing that's neat that I'll brag on Will a little bit, with what he's trying to do with the Rightful Revival and the fundraiser that we've got going here is there are people in need all across the country.
Yes.
Okay, that's a fact. But especially in Eastern North Carolina.
Yes.
Eastern North Carolina is a tough place if you've got some food security issues to be at. And I think the thing that's neat is how you guys have been able to make affordable food and accessible food good food. Because so many times you view those as not connected. Okay, you're just having food to survive, but no, it's really good food that you're bringing into communities.
Well, we believe that all the food that's grown and produced in this state is good, and the ugly truth is 40% of farmers' crops are really lost or left in the field every year, and we think that's a paradox. Why is there an excess of farm commodities, and why is there food insecurity at all?
How can that exist in the same space?
So our goal is to try and bridge that gap between excess and access and find ways to bring communities together. And
that's a little warm.
I thought my butt had caught on fire.
It's a little warm.
It still may have happened.
We've got another question, just on recapping where we are with the cooking. So let's get an update. Let's stay on track.
All right.
We're having too much fun talking in here.
Oh yeah. So the white sweet potato biscuit, your potatoes, if you check them, they should be easily to squeeze. And then you're in there. Then you can pull those off and start to puree those. Right now we got our rice that's boiling over. Our rice is going. So while we're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and slice the peppers. Hopefully you sliced yours at home before, but I was gonna do mine to order pretty much. So we're just gonna slice these for a garnish. And these right here are sweeter peppers. And you can use any pepper that you want. I'm not too big on the spicy as I get old. As I get older, I can't sleep no more if I eat something spicy.
I am super gun shy now.
Right now.
I am pretty convinced my right butt cheek caught on fire a minute ago.
Oh yeah, it gets hot.
This one didn't get me. It's something else.
So hopefully at home you got your rice going. I'm slicing these. You probably already got these sliced. You got your smoked trout roast somewhere handy.
I really hope, Michelle, that they cut them before.
Yes.
I'm super nervous for our audience.
Right. Well, that's just because of your own personal experience.
My inabilities.
Yes. Of this chopping on the fly and under pressure and at a time situation.
I think we might have to take out another insurance policy to keep bringing you into the kitchens like this.
How's the cocktails?
The cocktails are fantastic.
I hope the people at home are enjoying their cocktail right now.
It's
One,
delicious.
Two, maybe a few, you know.
I love the freshness of it all,
Yeah.
and it just it really has this great clean taste but fresh. Chef Ashley from Blue Jay Bistro, which is where we were in July.
That's right.
For those who
An
joined
alum.
us. An alum, yes.
Yeah, Right for Revival alum.
She hosted the inaugural episode. She says, I feel that, Chef. Small towns are giving us open forums for creativity with the best ingredients and no expectations for us to be anyone else.
Yes, and that's a beautiful thing. Like, I don't have to worry about what they're doing down the street.
Right.
And plus, like, the farmers that I deal with, I bump into them. Our kids go to school together. We might go to church together. The guy I get honey from, we go to church together every Sunday.
Yep.
Our kids are best friends when they go to church. So it's like smaller communities really depend on each other. And that's one thing that we have to continue to do, or we're going to lose that. We're going to lose rice for another 100 years. Yeah, you're going to lose rice for 100 years.
Yeah.
We're going to lose the small beef farms, small poultry farms. You're going to lose everything. And now, where's your stuff going to come from? Somebody you never met.
I think COVID has really emphasized that to the world, that bigger isn't always better.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, who's helping you out? The person next door.
When everybody's backs were against the wall, it was the small businesses, it was the small farmers, it was the small little bistros and diners and that made the deal happen.
True. And, I think what most people that aren't around agriculture on a regular basis don't understand is that 98% of farms in the U.S., let alone in North Carolina, are family owned. And it does not matter what size they are. They can be small, but they can also be large and still be family owned. And we can't survive without them. And just as you said earlier, our farmers are under great pressure, and yet we all need great food. We need food that we can trust, that is safe, that we can access in abundance to go and pick and choose from, and that it is affordable. And our farmers here in North Carolina do an incredible job. And I think that when you think agriculture, everyone should think immediately community, because to me they're synonymous together. They really go hand in hand. All right, I see that we need to know what about this trout roe. Are you ready, Chef, to tell us about the trout roe?
Yes, I am.
Okay, take it away.
All right, so trout roe is, people like to call it caviar, but caviar only comes for sturgeons. So trout roe is just the eggs of the trout. And I love to use smoked trout roe because of just that depth of flavor and the saltiness that it brings to a dish. And like I said, being out here, we can do that, So if you did it in Charlotte, people would probably look at you weird. But out here, you can put smoked trout roe on a steak and it should be all right. You want to try some?
I think I'm going to wait for the steak.
You want to wait for the steak?
Oh, I'm in.
There you go.
Michelle is the adventurous one.
That's not the Tommy I know.
Exactly. What's up with this?
He's still scared about that
Look,
right butt cheek
I'm
catching on
This
fire
is
over there.
delicious. This is amazing.
Well, and a special thanks to Inland Seafood for helping with this event and providing the trout roast.
Yes. Well, it's
just wanna highlight
incredible.
our partners.
And even everybody's noticing at home that you're showing me up. Well documented.
Well,
But let's the race
Thank you,
I was
guys.
in was on the cocktail race, and let's do a quick comparison, quick scorecard here. Right? I've gone full caveman style. I've even taken my lemon out, so I can
You
get
eat
my
the
whole
lemon?
so I can get my whole schnoz in here, so they can take the big gulps.
I'm just trying to keep up with you in wit, and I'm not sure that
that's
I can
not
do
hard.
that if
That's
I
not hard.
race that there, Tommy.
Not hard.
So
Not
I wonder
hard.
if the people at home, I wonder how their soup's doing. I wish I could see it. I wish I could see what they're doing at home.
All right. If you haven't been sipping on your drink, I think the message that Tommy is saying is catch up.
Yes.
Tommy's leading the pack, and we recommend that you try to catch up.
This is like at the horse track. This is the rabbit. This is the pace you should be on.
Yeah.
So Tommy likes to do everything fast again. I think we need to highlight Tommy real quick.
Oh boy.
You know, Tommy could talk all day about this, so I'm gonna go ahead and put like a 2-minute limit on this.
Okay.
NASCAR.
Yep.
Also, your experience today in repairing your vehicle. Let's just hear the skinny on that real quick while Chef is moving on to the next phase here.
Well, as it turns out, I made a quick pit stop on the way running some errands after we had gotten together earlier today, and discovered when I came back out to my truck that my starter was no longer working. Upon investigation, figured out that effectively a bolt had fallen out of it, and that the starter was now basically hanging off. So I channeled my inner NASCAR, and I ended up finding a ratchet strap and ratchet strapped the starter back to the F350 so that I could get here on time, because I didn't want Will yelling at me for being late. I had my farm coat because, it's a farm truck, so I donned that. I ended up getting my butt wet, which is part of this whole nervousness about getting my butt caught on fire, because my butt got wet because I had to shimmy under the truck. And so yeah, that's been my day.
And
That's
he
why I've
actually used the word as an engineer or pit crew for NASCAR.
Fact, yes.
And you actually implemented the 10-second rule.
100%. I thought to myself, this is my jam. This is where I shine. I got to look what I have available in the truck, and I've got to get back somehow.
There you go.
Thanks for that.
It was an automobile MacGyver movement,
100%.
right?
You got to use what you got, just like the kitchen.
There you go.
Right at home, if you don't have something, you got to find a way to make it happen.
I got a guy that works here. I tell him that all the time. Why can't you use what we got?
Use what you got.
So one thing I like to do also, like we're gonna put a little lime zest into the rice. While it's halfway done, we're just going to put it in there. So if you're at home, you can put it in at the beginning, at the end, whatever one you prefer, but I like to put it in at the middle.
All right, now talk about that stirring and how you're folding it in.
Yeah, I'm folding it in. Even though your mom, I know my mom probably tell me don't touch the rice.
It's a fine line.
But she ain't here.
I know.
But it's your kitchen.
It's your kitchen, and she's not in Big Washington right now.
There you go. There you go.
I think, if you're going to be, like we were talking earlier, if you're going to be adding in something that's got that floral side of it, melting that in is necessary.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to really it's going to not stratify. It's not like it's a soup.
Hold on, you lost me with stratify.
Yeah, I tried to work that into a sentence today, right?
Well, you get 5 points for that one.
Well, thank you. Nobody bet me I couldn't pull it off.
So I
here
think
we
it looks
are.
good with the color. It adds a little bit of green to the rice. But tell us about the flavor. What does that do? What does the zest do to the flavor?
It's just that zest, that fresh lime zest with the white sweet potato bisque. I think it'll just bring it up another level. And then you have the smoked trout roll and a nice sear of the steak. I think all together it will go great together. But also when you're seasoning your bisque, season it till you like it. I can tell you what I like, but it might be a little bit. You're at home, season it till your ancestors tell you to stop. That's one thing we do. And we even do it here in the kitchen. Like it might say a teaspoon of this. You're like, I don't think so. I think it needs a little more, a little less. So season it till you like it. Because I can tell you what I like and what we do here, but I don't know how that's going to equate at home.
With the bisque, do you worry about the bisque taking all of the flavor? Like if you're going to season a steak, a lot of it's going to fall off on the grill.
Yeah.
Right? That's a little different animal, right? But with the bisque, it's all in the same pot.
Yeah.
Do you worry about that? So you maybe back it down just a notch?
No.
Just go all in.
Just go all in. We don't like to do nothing half. Nothing half. We go all the way in and just build that flavor and build that flavor.
That's that army in you.
Yeah.
You gonna finish it?
I will say I'm really excited that I did not get the tree on the second one because it kept going up my nose on the first go around.
Well, maybe they saw that on camera
I think they did.
and got the memo.
This
for
one
you.
has a cucumber flavor.
This-
This is another mocktail for me since I'm driving
Yeah,
this
this
bus.
is this is great. I'm getting all my greens here at one time.
There you go. There you go. There's nothing wrong with that.
This is more of a cucumber flavor for
Very
not
much
just
so.
on the side as the garnish, but
Yep.
in the drink as well.
Also delicious
Also delicious, I agree.
and healthy. Makes you taller.
Yeah.
Everything, whatever you need it to be.
All right, so consistency of the rice, like, you know everything about the rice. You're the rice guy.
Now let's take a look. I would say it needs just a little bit more. Basically what you're looking is for rice is kind of almost, not foolproof, but it almost does its thing.
Yeah.
When you run out of water, effectively you're there.
Yeah.
Right?
So when do you cut your rice off?
About now, I would, like now, it depends, it's the timing of what you're cooking after it.
Yeah.
Like if you've got a long cook coming behind it,
yeah.
Right? If we're 15 minutes away from eating, I'd cut it off or cut it to simmer and let it kind of do its thing. It's going to pull all that water, all that flavor back into the rice. If all of a sudden we're trying to do a quick sear, like if we're doing a tuna dish, right? Because it's that time of year for us, right?
Yeah.
If we're going to do a tuna where it's going to be bam, bam, and we're going to be eating here in 5 minutes, I go ahead and try to finish it all the way through. Because it's all about what you got coming next.
Yeah, makes sense. So the rice is, I'm gonna cut it off.
I think so. I'll give you the
sit it to the back.
The
Now,
thumbs
if
up.
it's not right, that's your fault.
Exactly. I know that I'm all in with you. Me and
That's
you
it.
we're a team.
That's it, man.
We're together.
Black and white. Let's rock and roll.
Oh, you're a mess.
All right, what's coming up, Chef?
All right, so I'm about to get my pans ready so we can start searing off steaks. Like Tommy said, I think we're about 10 minutes away.
Okay, that's gonna be about perfect.
All right, so this is called, I was wondering what it was called, and it is called Salt of the Earth. It is another signature drink here at the Hackney, and it is yet one more reason why anyone who is joining us tonight in their home should make plans as fast as possible to get to Washington, North Carolina, and have reservations at the Hackney.
So the coolest thing about the Hackney, other than Jamie Davis, other than that, right?
That's hard to beat.
Hard to beat, admittedly. But let's talk about the Hackney, the building.
Yes.
We're cooking in a vault, right? We're in the bank vault.
Yes.
That's why we're cozy.
Yeah, yeah. So bank vault, actually this year this building is 100 years old. It used to be, I want to say Bank of America. The first radio station in Washington is upstairs.
Okay.
So it's the tallest building in Washington.
Sure.
So it has a lot of history.
I mean, if you've never been here, it's just a gorgeous building all by itself.
I think they played some video before, the B-roll for people from home to see, but we're literally a block away from the river.
Yes.
It's a waterfront, town, and the restaurant is literally right here on the water. There's sailboats within view. It's just a beautiful setting, and I think nestled right here in the middle of downtown in the heart of Washington.
Oh, I mean, it's a pillar of the community at this point, right? It's a focal point for people coming to Main Street, right? You come to Washington.
Yeah, to come to Main Street.
To come to Main Street, and what they've done to revitalize it, like so many eastern North Carolina towns, but Washington should get a lot of credit. They've taken a pretty downtrodden area and focused it around the Hackney with the stuff that you guys have done here.
Yeah.
And it has elevated an entire community.
It has. I think we're a part of that, but beautiful shopping downtown.
Right.
A lot of beautiful shops. We have a beautiful market, beautiful restaurants, beautiful people, beautiful scenery if you just want to walk on the water and just relax.
Chef, I know our cameras are set up given our tight area, but is
Yeah.
there any way we can show everyone at home what the bisque should be looking like
Yes.
at this point? Can we put it in something
Yeah, I
and
got
bring
you.
it to a camera?
I got you. So your bisque should be smooth. Well, if you puree it, it should be smooth. Really smooth. It should be.
Oh man, that looks good.
That looks
Should be a
incredible.
little thick, but not too thick. If it's too thick for your liking, you can always add some type of stock or a little bit of cream. But I think this is pretty good.
So what's your go-to, Chef, if it gets
too thick,
I
right?
like to use a lot of stock.
Okay.
I like to use stock. We always have some type of stock in the house, but I love to use stock. Just
Now,
because
like-
it has a little bit of flavor.
Like if you're cooking old school sausage and gravy, you'd go where you try to stand the spoon up, right?
Yeah, that's it.
The old school
Yeah.
way, when the
Yeah.
spoon stands up, it's right.
Yep.
You don't want it that tight,
Yeah.
right? You want it a little more loose here with what we got going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're going to use it as something that accentuates so much else that's going on.
Oh yeah. Let me get. Can I reach right behind you?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Oh,
wow. The main event.
Here we
Kind
go.
of steaks.
What are you saying about my sweet potatoes and your rice?
Well, you know, it's tough to compete with straight beef.
I can't argue that.
That's a big ask.
Right. But I know, Will, for you, this is a challenge because this beef, no matter how amazing and beautiful it is something that you honestly cannot eat. And it's yet another reason why you like the Hackney. Do you want to?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and I would love to, after that, take a minute just to highlight our beef, partners for tonight as well.
Sure.
But yeah, so we talked about gluten allergies and food allergies earlier, and how you're creating a product in a gluten-free environment for the most part with the rice.
That's right.
And catering to that. I've got a food allergy from a tick bite called alpha-gal, and I'm actually definitely allergic to mammal meat. And so if I eat beef, pork, really the rule of thumb for me is feathers and scales.
Right.
Anything on hoof, anything with fur, I have anaphylactic allergic reactions to it. And so I haven't been able to eat beef. In fact, I still drool over my last steak. It was June 17th, 2017, the night before I got engaged to my beautiful bride. I ate a tomahawk
That's
steak.
tough.
It was amazing, covered in cheese. I mean, it was good. Haven't had one since. I'm not going to try it tonight because, again, I got to drive this bus home and nobody needs me running off the side of the road. But
Flapping out.
I think it's really opened my eyes over the past decade since I've been dealing with this, but really over the last 5 years since I found out what it was, and I was aware of what to look out for to avoid having these anaphylactic, reactions, and kind of had to reevaluate my whole diet and really look at every single label, all the processed foods, to see what was in these foods. And when I go to a restaurant, you never really know how they're cooking in the kitchen. So if they're cooking steak in a skillet, and you order chicken and they cook that chicken in the same skillet or in the same grease, or in, if you're blending ingredients, you're susceptible if you have food allergies. And so I love going to restaurants where when you ask the question, it's not an offensive question.
Right.
And they actually jump to action. The chef himself comes to your table and tells you, hey, I'm looking out for you, you're safe. And I feel like, Chef, we've talked about that.
Yes.
You have had several, patrons that have come in that have the same alpha-gal
Yes.
that I have. Tell us how you address that in the kitchen. Tell us how y'all's restaurant wants to serve people who have
I think before we do that, I think there's a question about the puree, and
Right. I think
just
there's.
touch on that.
I think we need to pick up on that step.
Got you. So if you haven't seasoned your bisque, go ahead and add all your seasons. You got your salt, your pepper, your nutmeg, your cinnamon. You can add everything at once. Just let it come to a quick simmer. Then you want to pull it off, and then you want to puree it. So when you puree it, I like to take a little extra time to puree it because I want it to be super velvety, super smooth. But again, I like to start seasoning it from the start.
Do you have a special methodology of how you puree it, or what kind of tool you use, or?
Well, usually you just use some type of high-grade blender.
Right.
But it really has nothing that's going to break any blender. Just make sure you take your cinnamon sticks out if you're using cinnamon sticks. Other than that, you can use any blender at home. Just blend it till it gets smooth, and that's it. Then you just pour it out.
And for those who may not have pureed or added seasoning yet, they're still okay, right? This is going to turn out beautiful. They have the opportunity and time to get that done. And
Most definitely. That's 4.5 minutes. Just start to finish the puree, you should be good.
Right.
And you can add all your seasons that you like. And if you want to spice it up, you can add cayenne. You can do whatever you want. That's one thing about white sweet potatoes I like. They can take any ingredients pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't found anything that doesn't work well with it.
Sure.
So, you can pretty much add anything you like to this.
So they need to add their seasoning,
Yes.
stir that in, and then take it off the heat,
Yes.
and then puree it.
Then puree it. Yes, ma'am.
All right. And is there a step after the puree, or they just
Just
hold
pull-
tight till
just
we
hold
get?
tight.
Okay.
Keep it warm.
Keep it warm.
Keep it warm. Good to go.
So I like the tech tip of remove the cinnamon sticks.
Yes.
That is spoken like a true champion.
Well, there you go.
For those of us who don't understand that, explain.
That can get messy when you start pureeing with the cinnamon stick in there.
And I don't want to break nobody's stuff.
That's right. Right.
They tell us we own something.
Right.
I'm telling them, please contact Tommy.
That's right. And I think we interrupted there while
Yes.
y'all were talking about some different options to try to take care of.
Yeah, tell us about how y'all address allergens and serve your patrons regardless of where they are.
Well, at this day and age, everybody has something. So you have to just really work with it and always have something that's not four-legged or that's gluten-free or doesn't have dairy. And you just have to keep going and just figure it out. So, and just it pretty much keeps you on your toes also. And it keeps it fun.
Yeah, but that's the cool stuff, right? Keeps you trying to figure out how do you make good food that addresses those needs.
Yeah, most definitely. Like instead of steak, we always keep fish. We always keep something that has vegetable stock instead of a stock that we threw together with all leftover bones and things of that nature. But I just like to season the steak that's been sitting out at room temperature. So they've been sitting out at room temperature for a couple minutes, and we're just seasoning it with a little bit of kosher salt. And when you season, you want to season high from the sky.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, you want to
Yes.
season high from the sky. Simply because if you season right here, it's only going to go right there. But you season from the sky, it goes all over.
A pro move again.
You took my words right out of my mouth.
Culinary school.
I've got
That's
to.
it.
I've got to tighten up.
But
down
it
at
goes
the
all
club,
over that
down
way.
at the farm.
And me, I keep things simple. Salt, pepper. You know.
Did you do any olive oil or anything on the steak? Just steaks?
No, this is just salt and pepper.
rip 'em.
But I'll
That's
put
it.
olive oil in the pan when it's time to get down.
Gotcha.
All right, and these are beautiful Wheat Swamp Angus steaks out of Snow Hill, North Carolina. Some of my favorite steaks ever. I really love these steaks a lot.
Yeah, Wheat Swamp's been a good partner of ours at Ripe Revival and proud sponsor of this event. And y'all been working with Wheat Swamp for a while now, right? I mean,
I want to say about a year, right around a year, I want to say.
And y'all do Burger Thursday nights, is that right, here at the Hackney? No?
Yeah, we do a beautiful $10 burger with Wheat Swamp Angus beef. We did it one day and it kind of took off.
Yeah.
You know, so like Thursday nights we turn to Hackney Burger
Gets
Palace.
pretty crazy in here?
Yeah, it gets real crazy.
Hackney Burger Palace.
You need to start making a to-go line out there?
Nah, it gets super real in here on Thursday night.
Do you serve sweet potato fries with your burgers on Thursday?
No, we do truffle fries.
Oh, okay, well.
Hand-cut fries.
All right. Okay, but I bet
sweet potato
truffle
fries.
with sweet potato French fries would
I have a
still
feeling
be
that
pretty
Michelle's gonna be
amazing.
pushing that pretty hard.
Yeah,
so you go ahead.
That sounds good.
I really think that this is a new thing.
And
That
you know what? I think my staff will love you if you came and showed them.
Oh, like a pro move again.
I'm up for it. I'm up for it.
They were like, yeah.
I would love to see Michelle back here.
The white sweet potatoes make a really good fry. They've got, to me, they've got like a buttery, kind of earthy undertone. It's a little bit different. They're still sweet, but they're really good to cut them in sticks and saute them.
Yeah, well.
But yeah.
So, all right, we got a date, Chef.
We'll see you here at Thursday.
That's right.
We'll be here.
Thursday, Washington Hackney Burger Palace.
It's going down.
That's what
The
we
fact
should.
that we don't have T-shirts is a tragedy.
I think that's what we need to change the name to. You know, we go from selling 10 burgers a night to right around upper 40s, 50 burgers.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what a way to support, a local farm. They're a family business, like we talked about family farms, and really work really hard with full-time jobs as well to really make it happen. And so I know they appreciate y'all supporting them. We love supporting them as well. We use their products in our delivery meal kits and also on our mobile market, the buses. And our community members love getting that ground beef off of the bus.
But I also saw that, back to Goodness Grows in North Carolina, not just to east, all the way to west. I mean, you had BFR sirloins as well, right?
Yep.
With
So
the Brown
we
family
definitely
farm.
have to
Talk about
highlight
them.
our, second beef partner for this event. BFR meets out of the western part of the state, right outside of Boone.
That's right.
And
I've
actually,
made that trip to an event they had. It is a long
tell us
way.
Tell us about that. I wasn't there, so I don't want to take that
Well,
credit.
you missed
but,
it.
yeah.
It was a great event.
Fantastic.
Dinner in the Gap.
Yep.
And Daniel Brown and his wife Alex and his parents put together this event on their ranch outside of Boone called Dinner in the Gap. It was all about drawing awareness for North Carolina agriculture, which we all love. highlighting culinary professionals and incredible chefs in the western part of the state, and raising money for an organization that's located in Boone, a restaurant called Farm Cafe, which is a pay-what-you-can model, which very much is a complement to the mobile market. And
Correct.
we were so proud to be there.
It was so cool.
And it was great. It was a beautiful night. It was in the summer, so just think summer evening overlooking a Christmas tree farm, but up on like a vista, and you had
Cool temperatures.
cool temperature, great music. There was a live auction, incredible food, specialty cocktails, and that was the first year. So I'd say for all those who, if we just sold it to you, keep an eye out for it, because I think it'll be coming back around again, and it's not to be missed. And
Awesome.
I'm thrilled that we were able to incorporate their beef as well tonight.
Absolutely, and for our, patrons at home cooking, for those who are supporting this event, you can actually order directly from both BFR and Wheat Swap Angus. They have subscription boxes. You can order directly from their e-commerce stores, and I think they'll deliver directly to your home, just like we did with these meal kits. So feel free to check out their websites. If you Google Wheat Swap Angus and BFR Meats, you can take a look at that and support them, support a local farm. I know they'd appreciate it.
That's so important.
I know they saved my tail. Sometimes, like, I forget it's burger night, and Colleen will text me on Tuesday, like, do I need to come see you Thursday? I'm like, oh, yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So she saves my tail pretty much every other week. All right, so what we're about to do is about to start cooking our sirloins.
So what'd you put in the pan, and how much did you put?
I just put olive oil.
Okay.
Just enough to coat the bottom.
All right.
I don't want to have it swimming.
Yes.
So we got enough just to coat the bottom. We're going to let our pans get hot first. And we're going to cook everybody's steak right now.
I mean, this is a full-in searing station you've got going.
We're about to go down.
It's about to happen right here.
If I inhale all this fumes in here, I might go
You might have to go down. If you go down,
Exactly.
Hey, y'all mind? I gotta get the grip. I gotta get my steak guy.
We gotta get the pros in here.
Yeah. He's the pro. He'll take care of all your meat.
I'll take care of you. I'm here for you.
He's the pro. So we're gonna cook everything, then we're gonna rest it. And once we rest it, we'll start doing our 1-2 to everything. They look good though.
They look great. Got a really nice season on it.
Let's go.
We got so many liquor drinks in here, starting to look like a frat party.
I know they got everybody drinks with me. Everybody drinks.
It's a safety issue, OSHA.
Yeah.
You know.
So what you want to do if you're at home cooking? So what we like to do is let them get nice and hot. Then if you can see the pan, you start seeing the oil move a little bit. And once you see that oil moving and spreading out, you want to get it right when it starts smoking.
Okay.
Because you want to get a nice sear.
Yeah.
You want to lock that flavor in there. Yeah, so as you can see, you see the oil moving. But we are trained professionals, so if you don't feel comfortable doing this at home, I understand. So that's the sound you want. What's up? I'll go right there. Yeah, let's go try for 2 in the pan.
I see a question up there. Want some guidance on the herbs?
On the herbs?
Yeah.
Okay, so with me, when it comes to beef, I like to use herbs, but not too many strong herbs. So we're going to put herbs in at the end of cooking.
At the very end?
At the very end.
What happens if you put it in at the front side?
You can,
it
but
just
it's going to
takes
burn.
so much. It's going to burn and take so much up
Yes.
because the oil is so hot.
Yeah. So we're going to do it at the end. And we're going to do, we got these little things tied up. So this is how we like to do it. It has
Show
rosemary
the camera
and
there
thyme.
so they can see that.
So this is tied up, just rosemary and thyme. I love thyme. Probably one of my favorite ingredients. So we're going to finish the steaks off with that and a little bit of butter.
It's smelling incredible, as I'm sure it is at everyone's kitchens at the moment.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't panic, right? If they've got a little smoke happening in their kitchen.
Oh, no.
That's a good thing.
So long as the fire department's not coming, we're good to go.
Yeah, don't let them come. So when these are resting, we'll go ahead and spray them out. Do these or get some new pans. Yeah. So like the rule of thumb, like when I'm searing anything, you really don't want to move it.
Okay.
You really don't want to move it once you sat it down. You just want it to go. These are some beautiful steaks.
How long on each side? If you
So-
said it, I missed it. I apologize.
No. We're going to go about 3 minutes on each side, and then we're going to pull them off and let them rest. But then again, that depends on whether you like.
Sure.
You
So
know?
it's about the temperature of your meat.
Your temperature. If you want to go well done, you can go well done. You want to go rare, you want to go Pittsburgh, you can do whatever you like.
Now that's a new term for me, Chef.
Pittsburgh?
Yes.
So Pittsburgh is where you just get a nice sear on both sides, and that's
That's it. Okay.
Yeah. So that really comes from the coal miners in Pittsburgh.
Sure.
They would just use the coal, the caves, and just sear the meat on it because they didn't have any other way to hook it or cook it. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this thing.
We're kind of coming down to the wire the last 15 minutes of the event. We're cooking the steaks. We're going to plate it.
Flip.
I think it take a minute, if you're good with it,
Yeah.
while we're steering these, to talk about the purpose of this event, the mission, how all the partners are, supporting what we're doing together in the communities, but also how those who are watching along either on site or at home can continue to participate after this event.
And sorry to interrupt, but before you jump into that, I think we've got a few update questions from home about just where should they be with their rice and their bisque, and what should their steaks be looking like. I know you kind of got the steaks going, but if you could touch on the rice and bisque before we get to
so
that.
your rice should be almost finished. It should be on the side, just doing what the rice does, just resting. Your bisque should be done. Just keep that warm. Your pepper should be cut. Pretty much all you're waiting on is your steaks to finish cooking and rest. You want your steaks to rest. Then after that, you should be good to go.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. All right. Back to the purpose of what we're doing here tonight.
Yeah.
So, this is a nonprofit fundraiser for Right for Revival, which is the nonprofit arm of the Right for Revival organization. And, great partners like the Sweet Potato Commission and Tidewater Grain and now the Hackney here in Washington Farm Bureau. Too many partners to name right now. But all of the proceeds from ticket sales, from sponsorships, and from everything associated with this event will go back to our mobile market program. And so I think there's been some videos on screen throughout the night. We've got the bus outside, but what we're doing is we are trying to, again, bridge that gap between farm excess and food access and really serve communities to make fresh food, local food, accessible and affordable to all regardless of their budget. And so we've actually converted these buses into pay what you can grocery stores where we go into communities, and our goal is right now we've got 2 buses that are operating. The second bus will be done in about 2 weeks, and it'll be active. We've got 4 buses that we own total, and so events like this are helping us try and meet our goal of funding the last 2 buses. Our hope is that, let's just say by next spring, we've got all 4 buses funded, up and running, operating 5 days a week, and our goal is to serve 80 sites a week in 20 counties.
Wow. And what does 80 sites look like from number of families or number of people, pounds of food?
Yeah, I think those are the most important questions, is what's the impact? So for every dollar that comes in, it goes back into the communities. And so 80 sites a week, if on average 100 community members come on and either shop or take whatever, is allowable, and they just, for example, purchase or take 5 pounds of produce, which I think is conservative. On 80 sites a week, 100 shoppers, 5 pounds, that's 2 million pounds of produce a year distributed into communities.
Holy smokes. What a
The numbers stack up pretty quickly. So when you got a 5-pound butternut squash that was grown locally, that number is easily 10 pounds.
That's sure.
Excuse me. And with 200 families per event, you can do the math really quickly. That's over 8 million pounds of produce.
But back to your stat earlier, that's a rounding error for the farms, right?
Absolutely.
Because when you start looking at the context of how much is wasted.
Yeah, our goal is to use that excess, but also, when community starts to support community, and we can encourage consumers to pay it forward, to buy local, to maybe pay a little bit more for it, but they know where it's coming from, they know the source, they're supporting a good cause. What that does is it allows us to not only buy the excess, but to really start to create a new environment for like that vertical integration you have for rice, we're doing that for farmers. We're working with farmers who need to also diversify outside of row crops into fresh produce, and so Ripe Revival and all of our partners are playing a big role in selling that hope to those farmers that there is hope outside.
Right, so for farmers just like us, it's not charity at that point, it's about
Absolutely
building community.
not. Community.
Not charity, community, because the stronger our community, the stronger our workforce, the stronger our community is to grow the next Tidewater grain, the next BFR.
Absolutely.
Right? The next whatever's coming.
Yep.
You gotta have people that believe to do that.
And when we say reviving communities through food, that may be our purpose as an organization, but every partner that comes into that is part of that community and really plays an integral part of reviving communities through food. And so
cool.
You know, ways that people can get involved. You know, our nonprofit, you can make tax-deductible contributions through our website, riperevival.com. Participate in the Chef Series, Reviving the Supper Club events. We've got another one coming up in February. If you enjoyed this one, when we go live on ticket sales, go ahead and sign up. Go ahead and share. We look forward to doing that.
You'll
Again,
actually make a great Christmas gift to go
Absolutely.
ahead and pre-order and give as a gift. February 7th will be the date for that.
Yep, and to be
Perfect as
announced
an early
at a later date.
Valentine's.
That too.
For losers like me who don't think ahead.
Well, I'm not going to say about any of that, but I'm going to say that February is National Sweet Potato Month. So you know.
And we know rice is a good date night item.
rice is a good date
Already
night item. We've already
established.
talked about how you stir it if it's a date night
That's
versus
right.
otherwise. So, yes. All right. I know that we're getting ready to plate, at least here in our kitchen. And so tell us the layers, Chef. What are we doing to get ready to plate?
All right, so I just like to stir my biscuit up a couple times. Got a nice bowl ready. This just enough to cover the bottom. Our steak is resting. Hold on, we're just gonna plate one right here. Rice should be perfect. Oh, because that's what somebody else said. I didn't say.
Right.
I'm on the line here with you, Chef.
I think we're gonna sell it. It'll work.
It's gonna work.
So, and me, I like, you know, even if you're at home, you can do something a little decorative.
A little something.
Yeah, just a little bit. Smells great.
Could you slide it to the camera underneath, Chef, so everyone can see the decorative work you're doing on the
Yes,
side
ma'am.
there?
You gotta get in there.
There's an art to
Johnny.
this. Presentation is
Everything.
What percentage of the
Grab
Bible is
a
presentation?
little bit of.
Well, they say that you
Cilantro
first
out of there.
eat with your eyes when you
Yes.
have food.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
That's what they say,
that's what they say.
but it's true, very true. So. My bad. All right. So our steak's been rested. You're good. We're just gonna slice. And you don't have to slice it at home, but I like to
If you
slice.
got kids, you better.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks amazing.
It sure does.
Then I just like to hit it on a towel.
Now, what's the towel trick?
Just if you got any excess liquid or anything
Okay.
coming out, I just like to do that. We're gonna slide
Back
it right
to
on
the
top.
presentation thing.
Yeah.
You don't want it soupy.
There you go.
I got you.
We're just gonna fan it out just a little bit. Wipe off. Then we got our peppers.
Now, we saw these in Chef Ashley's kitchen as well. Those giant.
The forceps.
Yes.
Chef
Oh, yeah.
forceps. You're a pro if you have these.
So we got another
Yeah.
question too. How do you slice a steak properly?
You wanna go against the grain most of the time?
Against the grain.
Against the grain.
Kind of
But-
like Tommy.
There you go. Just like Tommy.
Just like a steak. Just like a good steak. Against the grain.
But we like to just throw little peppers anywhere.
Here comes that great
Now,
smoked trout roast
Smoked trout roll.
that you turned down earlier.
I'm just waiting to blend it all together. I want the full flavor profile.
And this.
Chef, we've got a question.
Yes.
What does against the grain mean when you're cutting the steak against the grain?
Okay, so when you're cutting it against the grain, Let me see, how can I describe
Take
this
us to
easier?
steak and show 'em.
You want to show? Yeah, so against the grain, realistically, I would cut this steak this way, because the grain's going this way.
Okay.
So, yeah, so you'll see these lines, you'll see lines in it going that way. So I want to go against it that way.
Great. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Good job on the steak, sir. But then I like to throw a little green on it. Cilantro will go good with this. So you should have your end product.
That is gorgeous.
End product. You got your white sweet potato bisque. Now you call it bonito.
Bonita sweet potato is the variety.
Bonita.
Yes. How do folks use the trout roe if not in this meal? What
Okay.
are other ways you can use it? Since I'm sure there'll be leftover.
Yeah, most definitely.
Right.
Deviled eggs, omelets, any of your fish dish, pretty much anything you can decide, even if it's just on a piece of toast.
Right.
Just a piece of toast, smother that on, or just by the spoonful.
I had it by the spoonful.
You know?
I would vouch for that. That was tasty, and,
How about
and
that?
it was smoky. And so if you like smoked food, which I love,
Yeah.
it's really great with cheeses too. I think that would be great on a toast point with some cheese.
Yeah. So even with the trout roe, you can use it as a garnish, or you can cook with it. So like me, I like to use it in sauces.
Okay.
Right before I plate up, I'll throw a spoonful or two in the sauce. So I never really tried cooking with it, but I like to finish the sauce with it. It just brings a little bit of saltiness, a little bit of smokiness.
Now, if you're, I know this came from Inland Seafood, which
Yes.
does amazing things to bring seafood
Yeah.
to everybody. But you know, Inland is more on the food service side
Yeah.
of things. If you're in Rocky Mountain tonight, where are you going to find some smoked trout roe?
You can always order it offline.
Okay.
And I would think probably Publix, maybe a Publix
Okay,
or
so
one of
you
those
can get
higher
this at
end
grocery stores and places
yeah.
like that.
Higher end grocery stores,
Okay.
I would say. But always can order it online.
Okay.
Well, I think we're running down to the wire here on
Yes.
the time. I just
Yes.
want to say, first of all, thank you to Chef Jamie for opening up your kitchen. Thank you to the Hackney for hosting us tonight. Thank you to all of you who have supported this event. We want you to know that the fruits of tonight are going to go back into the communities. And thank y'all for being awesome partners.
Absolutely.
And I hope somebody can try this before we cut this camera off and give them a first, reaction to what it looks like.
Oh, you want me? All right, and I will share with you that Sunburst Trout Farm in western North Carolina is where Inland Seafood sourced this particular trout roe. So, all right,
Yes.
Chef.
All right.
Let's.
They're getting you a fork and knife right now.
Okay. We've got 38 seconds. We're on the clock for
There we
real.
go. There you go. Here you go, ma'am.
All right.
Okay. All right.
The final bite.
Chef, this has been an amazing experience. We really appreciate your time, your knowledge. And Michelle's going to sign us off with a good first reaction.
I hope so.
It is so good.
Awesome.
Thank you
No, thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all so much.
It was delicious.
Thank you.
Thank y'all, everyone at home. We look forward to seeing y'all again. We hope you'll join us for the next event. But until then, come down to Washington, North Carolina. Check out Chef Jamie and check out all of our awesome sponsors online. And remember, thank a farmer today. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you
Have a
very
great
much.
night.